Welcome guys, it's Justice again here from tutorialscamp.com. Okay, so based on the last video that I uploaded, I've been getting a lot of questions from you guys wondering whether it's possible to develop different kind of application using Flutter only for different operating what systems. So I think the number of questions that are coming are a lot, and it is all based on this question, so I need to what clarify it before we actually what move ahead, right? So looking at this one, for example, it was asked by this beautiful lady here. His name is Chinasa Sanijo, right? He was asking, it's so cool what you are doing. Is it really possible to learn web development without HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? And the short answer is yes, right? You can definitely do it because Flutter takes care of the compilation of its code into what other native operating systems for you, right? It does everything behind the scene for you. You don't need to worry yourself about it, right? So if you look at the reply that I gave, what I said was yes, Flutter takes care of the compilation for you. So when you write some Flutter code for Android, you can later run that same code in the browser. Flutter will compile your code to the necessary HTML tags to make it possible to run on the web, right? So that's it. You don't necessarily need to worry yourself about it. And let me clarify this thing with some basic assumption here, right? So let's say you want to create some application for the website, right? Let's say this test right here, if you want to create an application that will run in the web, what you will use, the HTML tag that you will use is definitely what a paragraph here, right? So this is a paragraph tag, right? This is a paragraph tag. If you want to write this, you either use a paragraph tag or what some of the h1 tags here, right? So what Flutter will do is that if this was to be a Flutter application, framework application, what we'll do is that, you see, in Flutter we have a widget called a test, right? In Flutter we don't use HTML tags to develop our application, right? And that's because it's a different framework on its own. It's not the same as what HTML, right? It's not the same as HTML. So that's one thing you should understand. Okay, and if you want to write a test in Flutter, we use something called a test widget, right? Flutter we use a widget to design the UI of our application. You don't need to worry, right? As you move ahead, when we start the Flutter tutorials, I will explain everything to you. It's really easy. Okay, so if you want to write something onto the screen with Flutter, what you will do is that we use this test widget here, right? And we put in the text that we want to display on the screen, like hello, how are you doing today, right? And you can see we have given it some styles here, like the alignment, the font weight, and then the font weight here, right? So if you run this Flutter code right here in the browser, right, Flutter will compile it, this single code, it will compile it into an HTML tag, so that it will make it possible to run it on the browser. Because if we throw this text here right into the browser, there's not an HTML text, right? It's not among of the part of the HTML tag, so the browser will not understand. So what Flutter does is that it will compile this guy here, right, into 8 native web language that the browser will understand. Okay, so imagine if we want to run the same code here in an Android operating system, right? Flutter will compile this thing here into a specific text view, a widget. We call it a text view in Android, right? Those who are familiar with the Android framework, there is a widget that we call it text view that we use to write some text onto the screen, right? So if you run this say Flutter code into the application in an Android operating system, it will convert this text here into that text view widget. Okay, so that's it. We don't write what maybe you might be thinking that with Flutter, if you want to run this thing in the web, you need to write a separate code for application that will run on the web, and then a separate one for one that will run on the Android. No, that's not what we do. What we do is that we run a single code, and then what Flutter takes care of everything what behind the scene for you, because this framework, it is programmed in the way that it will run on all operating system. It is more like a hybrid operation framework, right? But they have embedded some functionalities into it that make it possible to run it in make it run compile the Flutter code into it. It's what native operating system what bit code, right? So instead of hybrid, it compiles it into what its native languages, right? That's why Flutter frameworks, they are more like what native languages, right? You can use it to access what the functionalities of every operating system, like the camera, the broadcasting, and the interact with services and other, right? You understand, right? So that's how it is, right? That's the whole thing, right? It's really possible to what design develop a single application in Flutter and then run it in what in different operating systems like Android, iOS, and then what for the web, right? So Flutter is just like run it once, write it once, and then what run it everywhere, right? Yeah, that is actually how it is. There's nothing wild with Flutter, right? That's why I was saying that if you are a Flutter developer, then you are actually what you have a lot of advantages, right? Because um, if you start with Flutter, even if you start with Flutter, you can still be doing freelancing job, and then you can still apply for Android and then web, iOS, and then desktop what job opportunities, right? Because you can use Flutter to what to do all these things without actually learning Java, Android, and then Swift, and then iOS, Swift, and this iOS framework, right? So that's one advantage of Flutter. Okay, so that answers your question, madam. And anyone who has the same question, worrying if it is possible, yes, it's possible. So that's correct size. And one thing I want to also make you guys aware is that in the last video I said that I'm going to go ahead and then what uh, teach you how we can what set up environment, and then let's start programming. Let's explore Flutter, and then I'll teach you how you can what code in Flutter, right? But one other thing I've also realized is that Flutter is actually based on the Dart what framework, right? So you need to understand the concept of Dart, right? You need to learn that first before you move on to what Flutter. Because if you jump straight to Flutter and you don't know that, then you might be doing things that you don't know what you are actually what doing. Okay, so what I've decided is that I'm going to release a 30 plus minute video, and then teach you Flutter first before I actually what move teach you that first before I actually what move on to we turn our focus to what Flutter. Because if we jump straight to Flutter without that, you may find yourself getting difficult to how to understand other things, right? So in the next video I'll teach you that first before what we move on to what Flutter, so that you guys will understand everything. But easy, don't make things wide for yourself, because that is not difficult, right? It's just like the film is just a programming language like Java, and then it's an object-oriented programming language. So even if you know Java already, it's just like you just have to blast through it, and then you are good to go, right? But because this course is for beginners, I don't want to actually leave them behind the scene, or actually want them to be on the same state where I am, so that they will understand everything. That's why I want to take everything from scratch, and then oh, let everyone understand what I'm actually what we want to learn, achieve in this course. Okay, so that's it. And if you have any other comment to, let me know in the video is it description? Yes, video description, and then I will answer it correctly for you. Don't forget, my name is Justice. Thanks for watching, and then I will see you in the next video.